Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I have the great honor and pleasure of getting to speak with one of my patients today. I thought her story and what she's done this year has been so inspiring. So I know there's a lot of us that are, at home. We are at our max. We are frustrated. We're gaining weight. We feel ill. We don't feel well. And so Leilani somehow has done the exact opposite of what most people are doing at home, and she's just really taken her healthcare to the next level and has absolutely committed and done the work. And I think has made, we've been working together for several years, has made this year really a year of transformation and vast health improvement. So I joked that I was giving her like the gold star of the entire year, of the entire practice. So thank you so much for being here, Leilani.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, just to get started, if you wouldn't mind sharing years back, what led you to discover naturopathic medicine and kind of what was going on in your life and how you found it.
So my story kind of started back in 2013. I hadn't seen a naturopath up until that point. It'd been more Western medicine, and I hit rock bottom. I had anxiety attacks, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And the doctor I was seeing just gave me more medication, which wasn't working for me. So I did some research, and I found a doctor who he was a naturopathic at the time. And when I met with him, it was life-changing. He sat down with me, and we had an hour conversation, and he looked at my environment, my emotions, everything, my diet, everything that went together, things that other doctors had really never talked to me about. So that was kind of my journey. I started with him. I was a challenge, my challenges. I was a challenge. He couldn't quite figure out the Hashimoto's on me. So he suggested another physician, and I kind of moved through different naturopaths and different modalities. And I was just amazed at all the modalities out there and the practices and how they all work together. And it just became a fascinating journey for me for the last 7 years.
Yeah, wonderful. I love that. And I think it's a couple of really good points that you bring up, to see naturopathic medicine for those that kind of aren't familiar with it. I always joke that we naturopathic doctors are a funny bunch. Like there's ones that are very conventionally they practice very conventionally, very much like a Western medical doctor. And then there's ones kind of way on the other side of that spectrum that are, I lovingly say like in the woo. And then there's naturopathic doctors that are everywhere in between. So I think that's a great thing. There are, like you said, so many modalities. This medicine is so broad ranging and can go so deep. So sometimes you do kind of have to still work with a few of them. And I think each time you probably learned key pieces of what was working for you so that you could become a part of that journey, right? So it's not just you going to the conventional doctor and them giving you a medication and okay, see you in 6 months. It's like you're an active participant in that healing and in the discussions and in the discovery of what is going to work well for you. So I think that's such a brilliant way that you explain that. And that's common for people. So it can take a while, but it's about you being an active participant. And that's so much, that is true healing. It's not someone handing you, health. It's helping you to discover. Yeah. So wonderful. Well, I am so glad that you started on that journey way back when, and you've come so far since then. It's just been amazing. My small portion that I've gotten to spend with you has been wonderful to watch you. And you've really, I think you've stepped up and you've been that active patient that, as doctors, we all wish for, that they're really inspired and they're active and they're doing research too. And they're coming to you with questions and like, hey, what about this? Or what about this? And, this is how I feel about this. And this is the emotional aspect of what's going on in my life here. So what do you think has been, well, let me say this. I think when we spoke earlier this year, I was fascinated at just how, you've done a lot over the years, but really I feel like this year has been the year for you, where you've made so many changes for, for health improvement. And I'm curious, I think sometimes we can become um, like information gatherers, and we can have this pile of information that's really awesome and interesting. But if we don't put that to action, we're still kind of spinning looking for more answers. And I felt like you were the perfect example of, like, you took this information that you had been gathering and you really put it into play this year, and got to reap the benefits from that. So I'm curious, like, how that felt to you, what that was like, and what inspired you to really go from information to, I am utilizing this and doing something with it.
So, like you said, for the last 6 years, I've been going to tons of different practitioners and learning different modalities. And this year I started up with, it was called Northwest National College of Natural Medicine. And I went to a symposium with my daughter, and it was on food as medicine. And it's like, oh, we all know how to eat. I mean, how hard is that?
Right.
It was an eye opener for me. I sat there all day with all these practitioners talking about, what was in our foods, how eating different, how you ate, um, your body would heal or would get worse from it, and how certain foods were affecting your body. And it was like this light bulb went off. It was like, oh my God, I can change all this just by the way I eat. How silly is that? Why didn't I know that? I should know this. So I signed up for the spring class, which then COVID hit, because that was fun. And so it was an online class. So I'm learning this, and while I'm going through the first couple months of COVID, like everybody else, I'm eating my feelings and feeling sorry that I'm stuck inside. And I realized that I need to have control of my life. Prior to being stuck at home, I controlled other things. Well, now I'm stuck at home and I have no control, but I have control over myself. And that's when it kind of clicked for me. It's like, I know how to eat right. I know how to do all of this. And I started taking control over me.
Mhm.
And it's not anything that I haven't heard from you and all the other doctors. You can heal yourself. You can take care of yourself. Um, and I happened to meet up with a health coach this year, and she just kind of helped me make that jump. It's like, no, you can heal yourself. And I started watching my body change, and it was all just the food that I ate, how I ate it, changed everything. And, within a matter of 4 months, I dropped 50 pounds and started
Oh,
coming off of medications that I've been on for years. And it was shocking to me. It's tearing me up too.
oh, yeah.
So yeah, if I can do this, anybody can do this.
Yeah.
That's what I want to tell people.
Yeah, and I think I just love your story. And for all of you out there, the symposium that she's talking about, food as medicine, I will link to that under this video too, so that you can check it out. They have, as she mentioned, or used to have in-person kind of classes, but also online teaching as well. And I think what's so interesting to me about that is we all, even naturopathic doctors who you think maybe are doing the healthiest things all of the time, we live in a society where, even if you know that food is healing, and you know on paper that you should be eating more fruits and vegetables, nine people out of 10 are not able to do that unless they have this massive kind of inspiration moment where they can actually take that knowledge and put it into action. And so I think food as medicine for you is just that, like, perfect, like, you were at that, like, tipping point. It was just like that last piece of inspiration that you needed to be like, oh, I know this, and somehow I'm still not doing it, which is most of us,
Yeah.
including myself. Sometimes I have to constantly remind myself and surround myself with people that are eating this way, and um, taking action, and really utilizing those tools, and not just kind of reading it and going, yeah, I know I should be doing that, right? But so that's what really stood out to me about there was something when we talked this year. I was like, something changed for you, like you really, that was that turning point for you. So I'm just so glad that you're here. And I thank you so much for sharing all of that. Because so many people listening, I think, are going to see themselves in what you're saying in that story. And I think just all of us knowing that we're in this together. This year has been brutal. This is 2020. If you're listening to this, much later than when we're recording it. But this is unprecedented, and so to hear Leilani and, the fact that not only did she implement all this stuff, but, you took it during this year, during this year of 2020, and you recognized like, hey, there's not a lot I can control. Like there's some crazy stuff going on in the world. And, maybe we're just one person, but that, food, what we put in our mouths, we can definitely honor and respect what's going on, and we can change it if we want to. And you absolutely did that. And it just, I know it feels good. It must just be,
Oh, it feels amazing.
yeah,
And
like,
the feedback I get from people is, how do you live like that? Don't you miss this? Don't you miss that? And
yeah,
I don't miss feeling bad. I don't miss being tired. I don't miss being overweight. I don't miss having all these medications and watching my blood sugar go up and down and do crazy stuff. Um, I love feeling good, waking up in the morning and not having to take a handful of pills to get started and, or to get the energy. And it's a lovely feeling. It's every
yeah.
day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think it feels not so restrictive, right? It's like you're moving towards health rather than feeling like you're not allowed to eat X or X. It's like totally different when you feel so good that you're like, I just want more of that. I don't want less of that, but I want more of that good feeling. I think that's a much different um, way to eat. It doesn't likely feel restrictive. That's why people are confused, like, don't you miss uh, tubs of bread and pizza and like all that stuff? And you're like, yeah, I could care less, right?
Yeah, it's well, and I learned how my body reacts to different foods. I can't eat gluten. I can't. My body can't adjust to that. I can't have dairy, and that was hard because I love dairy. But I
Yeah,
found other alternatives. You find other ways, healthier ways, to satisfy. A taste is basically all it was, and it's made a huge difference.
yeah, yeah. And do you find that your taste buds have changed? Because some people will
Oh,
notice that, when you're eating real food, all of a sudden that real food tastes so good, whereas in the past it was kind of like, meh.
yeah. To me, my snack is salted almonds. And before it's like really almonds. It's
Right.
yeah, easy, simple things. A piece of fruit to me is like so much sugar now. And I don't miss the desserts and all of those carb loaded, sugar loaded things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they no longer matter.
Yeah.
So-
It's just not even a like part of your life that you have to even think about or waste energy on.
and I still, I live with a family that, they eat differently than I did, but they support it. And I'm, they're watching me going, oh my God, she's really sticking to this. And it's changed. I mean, my husband's just in awe that, I've got off of medications that he's still having to take. And it's like, let me show you how to do this.
I know.
He
Yeah.
started attention going, oh, wow. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And how amazing is that? I think that's the greatest way to inspire family members, because that is the hardest sometimes, when you care so much and you want to help them, and those are usually the people that you can reach last, for what, there's a multitude of reasons about that, but them seeing you do it, right, and watching your transformation for their eyes, I think that that's very powerful, and they will likely join you in their own time, and that's probably, I think, the only way to do it, rather than convincing them or like, trying to control them, because we can't do that
yeah.
even if we want to desperately. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Let's see, what else would I would love to know what advice you would give to yourself if you could like go back, say 3 years ago, and like talk to yourself as if you were talking to a friend. Like, what advice would you give yourself?
Um, Not to give up, to remind myself I have the power. I gave up my power. I believed, that I was these ailments that, I can't lose weight. I have Hashimoto's and that's keeping me from losing weight. I believe that. And even though I tried hard to lose it, I think just your mindset, it makes so much difference to how you're taking care of yourself. So, yeah, I would just tell myself, you're doing the right things and it's just baby steps. Sometimes you take a step back, but you're going to go forward again, and it's okay. You can take a step back once in a while, and just keep going forward and doing the right things that are healthy for you.
Yeah,
Be kind to your,
beautiful.
it's, I didn't get here overnight. I didn't expect to get fixed overnight, but it's gone a lot faster than I thought, actually.
I know this year has been fast for you. Yeah, it's like, well, it hasn't been fast, but in a way it has.
Once
Uh,
it started moving, it just all clicked, and it just all.
yeah.
And I
Well,
don't want anybody to think that I did this overnight. I mean, I have been working for 6 years, working on mental health, working on physical health, working with different practitioners, trying to find my path to get to where I'm at. And it's been a journey, but I feel like I'm on the right path, and it fit for me.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, it's not overnight. And all of the things that you've learned in the last 6 years are still there. It's like it's just this kind of magic, cohesive time for you where you've been able to take all of that and put it into action. So all those years were not of waste, right?
Oh
Like
no.
those were the building baby steps that you needed for your time to shine, and that's been this year for you, I think. So
Oh, absolutely.
cool. Um, Last question for you. What advice, and this might be similar, I think you touched on the belief systems that we have that a lot of us, I think, have playing in the background, and we're unaware that that is our beliefs. Like we literally think, oh, I have Hashimoto's, I will have a hard time losing weight, right? Like it's so rock solid as a belief system that we don't even question or think of it as a belief system because we think that is black and white, the truth, but like the law of gravity, it's just like that. So I guess what I would love to hear from you is what advice you would give to someone who's listening to this, who's at home, who's feeling frustrated and maybe feeling like they've tried everything and feeling like they're getting nowhere, who want and maybe they feel overwhelmed, like what would you say to them?
I would say, don't stop looking for the right practitioner. Find the modality that you need that fits your needs. I mean, I have a toolbox of practitioners that I see. My back hurts, if I need somebody to talk to, if I need somebody to work on hormones or my blood sugar or whatever. I have different practitioners that I use. So find the right one, and if the one you have doesn't work, find another one. There's so many good practitioners out there. And the other one is we are so, as women, well, as men too, we're so programmed that we take care of other people first and then we take care of ourselves. We're always second. Make yourself a priority. I mean, that's how I got to where I was, is I put everybody else first. And, I'm sick. Oh, I'm really that sick. I can get out of bed and do this. I mean, you got to start taking care of yourself and making yourself accountable for how you're treating yourself. And along with that, it's how you talk to yourself, your mental talk to yourself. Because I'm bad about it. I'll do something going, oh, that was dumb. No, it wasn't dumb. You're okay. It was a simple mistake. You're fine.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself. And like I said, find a good practitioner that fits with you, and you'll get there. Don't give up. I can do this. Anybody can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I think your story is so inspirational. And again, I award you the gold medal of the year 2020, which is the hardest gold medal to get on
Yes.
planet Earth. So I love, your story and how, you do encourage people to find the right practitioner, because I think that is so true. Sometimes there's just a practitioner that you resonate with, and that is so key, knowing that you have, and not just one person, like you said, it takes a village, right? And then kind of we've been taught in this world that we should have like our one main like primary care and they handle everything, right? And it's just like reality tells us that it doesn't work like that, right? So having the team approach that you do, I think, is absolutely key, and making sure each one of those people are listening to you and that you resonate with and you feel really confident in their care and how they care for you. So that's reflected in you, and you can learn to do that for yourself too, because I think not a lot of us are know how to do that. We do have these negative thought patterns, and we have, especially around weight loss, it's like this kind of shame feeling that we have, that we're not comfortable in a body, and so we're trying to force it to get to a different size. And it's just it's all so backwards of how it actually unfolds and how it actually happens. So again, I thank you so much for sharing all of that. I think you're going to inspire and help so many people that are at home and, frustrated and kind of lonely and not knowing where to turn and just feeling defeated. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, if I can do this during 2020, anybody can do it from home.
Yes, absolutely. That's the name of the game. That's our theme for today. Okay. And again, everyone, I will link to that food as medicine information that Leilani mentioned. That was a key, I think, aspect for her and how her inspiration. So, okay, wonderful to see you.
Wonderful to see you too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye, everyone.